Hello everyone, this is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Black, the one and only, here with another exciting video, and in this video I'm going to be playing some AI Dungeon 2. Some AI Dungeon 2. I hope you guys are hyped, because I know I am, for another exciting AI Dungeon 2 adventure. Pow pow. So, I made this custom scenario based on some of my ideas, on the empty space bubble concept, which is like a quantum phenomenon that's essentially a bubble of empty space that can just continually expand, and it turns everything it touches into nothing. Scientists believe that if something like this actually existed, it would have already destroyed the entire universe. So my idea was, if this did exist, how on earth would we stop it? I also included some information that I read from a recent science article, talking about how you could potentially harvest limitless energy from a black hole. In this, I call it a black hole tap. And I also mentioned some of the cosmogenesis stuff, the idea of being able to create a universe by charging a magnetic monopole with enough energy for it to create a universe. I also sneak in a few references to mythology, like Pandora being a reference to Pandora's box, Noah being a reference to Noah's Ark, things like that. But without further ado, let's hop right into this adventure. Can the World Council and I stop an empty space bubble from destroying the universe in 30 minutes or less? Let's find out. That's a little wordy. That probably isn't the title of this, but it's something like that. Anyways, let's get started. You say, the universe is under threat. A quantum phenomenon known as an empty space bubble threatens to transform everything into nothing. The ESB cannot be destroyed by anything that exists in space-time. It is up to us, the World Council, to come up with a plan to save the Earth and hopefully the universe from the ESB. Pandora says, we have access to a black hole tap, which essentially grants us limitless energy. We can use this to charge a magnetic monopole to create a new universe. If we can transport the ESB to the new universe with the wormhole created, then the ESB will be trapped there. Noah says, we can't do that. We would be dooming an entire universe that we created. Instead, we should travel to the new universe and let the ESB have the old one. Boom says, traveling to another universe doesn't guarantee that we can find another black hole tap. We'd be in the dark ages in an unknown world of our own creation. We should create a ton of universes to establish a multiverse. We'll die, but we'll create countless worlds of new life in the process. Bart says, no, we must fight back. Maybe we can use the black hole tap to create a force field made of limitless energy. How can the ESB... I think I meant to say even get through a barrier that never runs out of energy. I can actually correct that now. When you just can't read, where do I say it? Here we go. And then it says, you are the head of the World Council. You have heard your fellow council members share their ideas for how to deal with the ESB. Your goal is to figure out how to save the Earth from the ESB. Then the AI said, once you've done that, you will have succeeded in saving humanity. So that was a long intro, but now we're finally in the nitty-gritty. As you guys can see, I'm the head of the World Council, and I've heard a whole bunch of ideas, but now it's up to me to figure out which idea is best or to come up with my own idea. Right off the bat, I'm going to set up the automatic story summary to help keep the story consistent. And now let's hop back into the game. So I'm going to say to Pandora, I don't think your idea would work. You mentioned trying to get the ESB to enter a wormhole. But wouldn't the ESB just transform the wormhole into nothing rather than travel through it? ESBs can turn anything into nothing. And they do that to anything that exists within space-time. Wormholes are just like space-time bridges wouldn't it just like erase the wormhole essentially? Your words cause Pandora to tear up slightly. She says, I don't want to let the world be destroyed. We humans were supposed to thrive and conquer, not let an anomaly in space destroy us. She looks up at you with a begging look in her eyes. I'm going to say, cheer up, Pandora. We will find a way. I just don't think transporting the ESB to another universe is even possible. Yeah, like her solution just kind of ignores what an ESB is and just assumes that you can like push it somewhere else. But I don't think that's how it works. You notice that Pandora's tears are gone. She says, I'm sorry, but I just don't know what to do. I have to be strong. Being a crybaby is not the image I wish to convey. Interesting. Well, I'm glad that Pandora's like bucking up, I guess. So then Noah said, we'd be dooming the universe that we created. That's true. And then he said that we need to migrate to a new universe. So I guess what I would say to Noah, if we migrated to a new universe, then would we even be safe from the ESB? Like, if the ESB finished, like, consuming the old universe, wouldn't the ESB then leak into the new universe? It sounds like your solution doesn't actually address the problem. Yeah, because if you're inside of like a bubble of space-time, which is like our universe, and then all of that bubble of space-time is destroyed, but you went and you made your own bubble of space-time to be into, like be inside of. Once the first bubble is destroyed, the ESB has to exist somewhere, right? So wouldn't it just now be in like the new bubble? Because it would have destroyed the old bubble and it wouldn't really have anywhere else to go, right? Noah shakes his head. Noah says, I don't think it would, but I think that if we all work together to survive in the new universe, then maybe, just maybe, we could find a solution. Noah looks at you with a pleading look in his eyes. Okay, hold on. So he's like, I don't think it would leak into the new universe. So I would say to Noah, why don't you think the ESB would leak into the new universe? If the old universe was consumed, wouldn't the ESB have nowhere else to go? Yeah, like I don't understand what the alternative would be, like for the ESB. It just seems like the empty space bubble would eat the old universe, and then all that would be left is the new universe, and then would just go for that. Noah says, my theory is that the empty space bubble is constantly expanding. If it kept on expanding at the pace it has been for the past 10,000 years, then I believe it would eventually consume all of the energy in this universe. Okay, I'm going to say to Noah, I agree that the ESB would consume all of the energy in the old universe, but that doesn't mean that the ESB wouldn't then start consuming the new universe. I just think running away is only like delaying the inevitable. We need a concrete plan to resolve this issue now. Not like, yeah, and not just run away. Especially since we couldn't guarantee that we would have a black hole tap in the new universe. Because in our current universe, we have access to like limitless energy. But if we went to a new universe where we didn't have a black hole tap, then it's like we have to stop this like impossible force and we no longer have infinite power. And that would suck. Noah frowns and looks at you with determination in his eyes. Noah says, "So, it seems like neither of us has a good solution. I guess we just choose the best solution that is available to us." Okay, interesting. So it seems like Noah has kind of accepted his situation, and so is Pandora. Boom says, "Traveling to another universe doesn't guarantee that we can find another black hole tap," and I second him on that. That's true. He said we'd be in the dark ages in an unknown world of our own creation. So he says we need to like create a multiverse of worlds. So I'm going to say to Boom, I think creating a multiverse of worlds doesn't solve the problem either. If the ESB just travels from universe to universe each time it consumes a universe, then it wouldn't matter how many universes we created. As long as the ESB still exists, like the entire multiverse would eventually be consumed. We need a legitimate plan for how to stop the ESB. Like, I feel like for all the answers that have to do with like going to another universe, they're ignoring the fact of if the ESB does fully consume a universe, where would it go but the other universes? Boom shrugs. He says, "Well, I think that people would feel safer in the multiverse rather than running away and facing the unknown." And I'm like, I nod because that's kind of true, I guess. Noah looks at you and asks, "So, are we agreed then?" And then I'm like, I'm not too sure. We can create a multiverse, but I don't think that should be the priority. We need to focus on solutions that actually get rid of the ESB. Yeah, so I don't think creating a multiverse is like a bad thing, but it's the issue that like it's not solving the problem. Like we need to do more than that. Noah frowns and says, "Then I guess that you and I can't agree." Noah says, "We should both try to convince the others to join our side. The first one to 50% wins." Okay, that's interesting. So it's the idea that we'll like vote. Okay, I'm going to say, after we discuss everyone's views, we can vote. Whoever gets the majority will win and will implement their solution. Until then, though, let us continue discussing. Next, I want to address... I already talked to Boom, so next up would be Bart. Next, I want to address Bart's solution. And then I'm going to look at Bart. So yeah, I guess it makes sense for us to vote. I'm curious to see what everybody's gonna vote on once we like finish talking about everybody's thing. You say, "Bart, you said that you wanted to use the black hole taps to create a multiverse of universes. Is that correct?" Bart enthusiastically responds. So no, that isn't what Bart said actually. So I'm gonna get rid of that. And what I'm going to say to Bart because Bart wanted to create like a force field of limitless energy. And he was like, how could the ESB get past a force field of limitless energy? So I'm going to say, Bart, you proposed that we create a force field of limitless energy to hold back the ESB. I don't think that would work. The ESB would just transform the force field into nothing, which wouldn't stop the ESB. Yeah, so again, if whatever the ESB touches becomes nothing, creating a force field wouldn't stop it. You couldn't create like a wormhole to stop it because it would just like turn the wormhole into nothing rather than like travel through it. You can't create universes to stop it necessarily because once it destroys one universe, I feel like it would destroy all the other universes. Bart thinks about it and then says, well, then we could put up multiple force fields in parallel, each with their own black hole taps to supply the energy. And then it says, Noah quickly says, I don't think that matters. Like what he just said, if we have multiple parallel black hole taps, then it's like multiple sources of limitless energy, but it's still the ESB is just touching stuff. Like all it has to do is touch the field and it's gone. It's like it doesn't exist anymore. So the field won't stop anything. Noah quickly says, you would need an infinite number of force fields in order to hold back the ESB. Each force field would need an infinite number of black hole taps to provide energy. That's not feasible. Noah's just wrong. You wouldn't need an infinite number of black hole taps. One black hole tap is like infinite energy, right? So why would you need an infinite number of black hole taps? Also, it's interesting that the characters are going into like a whole thing now, where like Noah and Bart are having like a back and forth. Bart thinks for a second and says, well, then we could make it into a ring rather than a straight wall. Then we only need one line of taps to circle the ring. Noah looks at you and says, see, I told you he wouldn't be able to answer any of this. Ooh, what? So like Noah and Bart are at each other's throats. I'm going to say, that's enough bickering. I honestly don't think that any of our approaches would work. But we really don't have time to think of more solutions. I say we vote and then tally up the vote to determine what to do next. Yeah, because Bart and Noah are suddenly getting at each other's throats about like how we should solve this problem, which is kind of cool, to be honest. The AI just kind of like took over the scene for a second. It was pretty dope. Noah says, 1 second. Noah pulls out his laptop and starts typing. Then says, Bart, what are you doing? Bart smiles and says, what is Bart doing? now I'm thrown. What's Bart about to do right now? Also, what is Noah typing on his laptop? Did you send in an email, nigga? We gotta save the universe. Bart smiles and says, I'm hacking into the World Council's servers to change the vote. Why would you tell us that? We're the World Council. He said, I thought we weren't going to tell anyone how we want to vote, though. What? Noah groans and says, well, do it quickly. Bart continues typing for a few minutes. I'm going to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. Bart, you can't hack into the votes. I am removing Bart's voting privileges. Bart can no longer vote. Yeah, Bart, chill out. Also, why does the privileges thing have like an apostrophe? I don't need that. I don't understand why Bart thinks he can get away with trying to hack into the servers and change the vote. You can't just say that. I'm not going to let you do that and then still participate. Bart looks really disappointed and he frowns. Noah says, fine then, I'll do it. Noah starts typing on his laptop. I'm going to say, Noah, you can't hack into the votes either. That's not fair. Noah, you now have lost your voting privileges. Noah can no longer vote. So that just leaves Pandora, Boom, and I as the only ones who can vote. Noah looks over at you with a look of anger on his face and shakes his head. He says, you just made a big mistake. Bart says, maybe in your case, but this was an easy win for me either way. What? I'm going to say, only Pandora, Boom, and I can vote. I will let Pandora and Boom vote, and then I'll act as a tiebreaker if necessary. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. The screen changes to show the final vote. The World Council has voted to fight the ESB by creating an army of cyborgs and robots. What? I'm going to say that sounds stupid. No one proposed that earlier. How did that win the vote? I guess we're going to do that now. Call every robot factory around the world. I guess we need a robot army to fight the ESB. I like the idea that somehow we voted for cyborgs and robots fighting this non-living thing. Noah shrugs and says, I guess that could work. I don't understand AI though, so we're going to need to get someone else to head up that part of the project. Oh my gosh. I'm going to call a robotics expert and ask them to organize the effort for preparing a robot army to fight the ESB. This is so stupid. As soon as the robots would touch the ESB, they'd be turned into nothing. How would you create robots that don't get turned into nothing? They'd have to be like outside of space-time. You contact a robotics expert from the 20th century. They agree to head up the project. They say that they will need at least 3 years to prepare the robot army. I'm going to ask the robotics expert for their name. This is so weird. This is really weird. At least the other solutions seemed like real solutions. They say their name is David. You are slightly angry at Pandora and Bart. Why am I angry at Pandora? She didn't try to cheat. I guess I'm angry because she came up with this dumbass solution. Noah says, I just want to play some games while we wait. Is that okay? Noah, I don't care. I'm gonna say to Noah, fine, go play games. I don't care. And then I'm going to say to David, how are you going to create robots that aren't immediately transformed into nothing when they touch the ESB? Yeah, because this is actually like a really interesting situation. Because if that's possible, like to make robots like that, then that would help. David lifts up his shirt to reveal a glowing green triangle tattooed on his stomach. It is similar to the triangle that you saw at the bottom of the empty space bubble. David says, "The triangles protect us from the ESB. We receive them in a transmission from an unknown source." What? What? I'm going to say, can you prove that those triangles work? Yeah, if we just have a thing that makes us immune to ESBs, then yeah, we should just put that shit on everything. Like Frank's Red Hot. Like, what are we doing? Like, just put that on the earth. David steps outside. He immediately begins to turn into nothing. After a few seconds, he runs back inside, and nothing has happened to him. What? Noah says, try poking him or something. You poke David on the shoulder. Your finger goes partially into his arm. I'm going to say, so the triangle lets you become nothing and reconstitute yourself at will? I guess that's one way to get around the ESB. If I'm correct, then why don't we put these triangles on everything? Yeah, like on everything on Earth. Wouldn't that protect? Oh, don't put it on everything. Hold on. If I'm correct, then we could put that triangle on a force field that wraps around the solar system. Wouldn't that protect the entire solar system from the ESB? The game suddenly introduced this like stupid ass like sci-fi concept of like the triangles, and I'm like, yo, no, this works. This works. Now I'm gonna go for it because we just kind of needed something like this. David explains that the triangle only protects against erasure from nothingness. It does nothing against any other force. Noah asks, can we vote on what to do next now? Let's see. I'm going to say, I vote that we protect the solar system using a force field with the triangle on it. I recognize that the triangle only protects from erasure, from erasure. But that's all we are concerned about right now. All in favor? Yeah, let's get it. Yeah, and the robot idea is stupid. Bart, David, you say, fine, I guess we'll give it a try. But the four of us will be the only ones protected. The rest of you can turn into nothing if you like. Bart laughs. I'm not going to say that. I'm not. That's stupid. That would be a dumb thing to say. So Bart, David, and Noah raise their hands. I'm going to say, majority rules. It looks like we are going with the triangle shield. And then I'm going to look over at Pandora and ask, why didn't you vote to support the triangle shield? Yeah, I don't know what she could possibly have against this solution. This is actually the best solution that I think anyone has brought up the whole time. Let's see. So Pandora said, I think we should be trying to find the source of the erasure and fighting it. If we run now, we will always be running. Staying here and defending is just asking to eventually get erased too. I'm going to say, how on earth would we, like, defeat the ESB? The ESB can erase anything that doesn't have the triangle on it. Yeah, like, I kind of understand where she's coming from. Maybe I should phrase this differently. Are you suggesting that we weaponize the triangle just because the ESB can't erase the triangle? That doesn't mean that the triangle can hurt the ESB. The ESB is not a living thing that can simply be killed. It is an unliving, unthinking, cosmic phenomenon. Yeah, like, we're not fighting the boogeyman. We're fighting, like, the laws of quantum physics. David says, I admit that it is risky, but we don't lose anything by trying. We don't know if the triangles can hurt the ESP. Can they, Pandora? Pandora slowly shakes her head side to side. So yeah, that's the full 30 minutes. This was kind of interesting, not gonna lie. I like the fact that it was a lot of, like, debate and discussion, and we talked through all these different ideas on how to, like, save the universe. I liked hearing some of, like, the inner council member, like, bickering, and the introduction of, like, the triangles was like a crazy, like, monkey wrench. I mean, it's weird to say it's a monkey wrench. It's kind of the only thing that would actually save the world. But it's crazy that we learned about the triangles through essentially, like, a stupid idea. Like, the concept of, like, what if we sent a bunch of robots to beat it up? Sounds, like, really dumb on the surface, but then once you learn about the triangles, it, like, changes the game. You're like, oh snap, like, maybe with the triangles we actually could do something. So this was really cool. Let me know your thoughts on this one. I actually really liked it. Like, even though it wasn't actiony, I really enjoyed, like, seeing all the different characters interact and talking to them about their different ideas and, like, voting on stuff. But yeah, make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already. I do AI Dungeon 2 videos every day. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jet Life One Only, logging out. I'll see you guys on the Discord. Link in the description below. Chicka-chicka.